Hello and welcome to your in-depth weekly horoscope for week commencing the 29th of May for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you an overview which we can all relate to collectively, but please stay with me. I will explore in much greater detail all the 12 zodiac signs from Aries through to Pisces. If you're new here, it's great to have you with us. This is very much a community. Do share any thoughts you have. I try to interact with each one, but please also subscribe by clicking or tapping on the bell notification symbol. As this week begins, so the Sun is in a very enthusiastic and energizing link with Mars. The Sun's in Gemini, which is fleet-footed, loves lots of quick, short, but bright conversations and has an appetite for everyday knowledge and information. Mars in the proud Leo is a really wonderful location for Mars. It's pushing us to manifest our talents wherever we can. It's just that despite their vibrant link, Saturn is being somewhat of a spoilsport, located in house 12, which can be to do with the people who are not necessarily on our side, or the more psychological or subconscious strands of our situation. Saturn is in a right angle with the Sun, which can slow things down, but it's also in a triangle with Mars. And if we don't really target our efforts in a very focused way, we could end up feeling a bit frustrated at the start of this week. But Wednesday, fortunately, sees Mercury emerge from its post-retrograde shadow. If we go back to the 4th of April, when Mercury moved into Taurus, by the 7th, it started to slow down and go into its pre-retrograde shadow. The retrograde itself began on the 21st of April and ended on the 15th of May. But if anything to do with finance has felt sluggish, has slowed down for you, or you've been waiting for some information or news, the chances are you're going to get that confirmation in the second half of this week as Mercury comes out of shadow, which is like a mini retrograde, but also aligns with the bright energies of Uranus, which is very much about truths. So Uranus in Taurus is joined by Mercury, and some information can come into the open which provides some real illumination, particularly if you have been feeling that things just aren't shifting. Now Venus is the ruler of the sign of Taurus and therefore intrinsically linked to everyday finance, but is currently in the feeling sign of Cancer, and it forges a quite enchanting link with Neptune in the second half of this week. If you're lucky enough to be involved in a friendship, association, or personal relationship, which really is lovely, you can celebrate this with that other person in the latter part of this week. But Venus is also in a direct opposition with Pluto, and that can bring a much more political vibe to bear. But overall, the two influences involving Venus ask us to really count our blessings in terms of our associations, but also appreciate what our core values are, which provide our sense of security, with Venus being in the sign of security, Cancer. But as the week draws to a close, we do have the full moon, the Sagittarius strawberry full moon. So this can be a crop of strawberries, if we like, over the next couple of weeks, but it can also see some strident conversations. The sign of Sagittarius loves openness and can be quite frank, but it's also about higher truths, whereas the Sun in Gemini is about those everyday quick moving chats that are not necessarily always so deep and thought through. So there could be some kind of discussion that manifests itself at the end of this week. If it's about money, if it's about our core values, our self-worth, or a relationship, it really wouldn't be a surprise. But something may need to come into the open which provides illumination, but it could be a little bit uncomfortable hearing what someone has to say. Now, if you would like to learn much more deeply how astrology can have such a profound impact on your life, if you give me 3 pieces of personal birth data, of time, date and place of birth, I can produce for you your life roadmap report. This will give you an intimate understanding of the patterns that have played out in your existence so far. In my special offer of 30% off, you can also get your 12-month forecast, totally unique to you, these reports, and that will give you Syrian insights. If you don't know your time, my new solar reports based on the sun can also be invaluable to you. Please see the links below for more. So Leo, your week commencing the 29th of May forecast sees a number of competing influences that are really quite different. For example, the sun is in the 11th house, which is sociable, but Venus, the planet of relating, is actually in a very sheltered zone. How do we work that out? Well, I feel that there could be some food for thought going on around an existing relationship. You could possibly be feeling nostalgic for someone from your past. The sun's in the part of your situation to do with your future. So if you are in a tie which isn't working very well, Venus is asking you to take note of that. Yet Mars in your sign links brilliantly to the sun. So if you're involved with a group situation or some kind of dynamic where you share ideas or responsibilities, you may continue to find yourself really taking quite a central role, perhaps even a leadership role in such a situation. But Saturn also applies to the Sun and Mars, and Saturn of course can bring restraint, and it's in house 8 where we're most invested. Just in a practical way, that can be property, savings, pensions, but the 8th house can also be the money we share with others. So if there is an issue around a relationship at the moment, whether it's a professional or personal one that's not quite working, Saturn's asking you to be very mindful, because there may be some obstacles that you need to overcome in the short to medium term to get to where you feel your longer term future may have to be, and there may be some untangling that could prove to be a little complex. However, ironically, Venus does forge a beautiful link with Neptune later this week. Maybe someone's going to demonstrate to you in a non-verbal way how much they're drawn to you. Maybe quite a spiritual connection is possible. However, as the week moves on, Mercury emerges from shadow. If your more worldly aims have been not quite moving at the pace you want, some good developments when the sun was in Taurus. Of course, Jupiter's there from the middle of the month, and that's certainly giving you the desire to do better when it comes to your goals and ambitions and career, raising your profile. But Mercury's just been slowing things down, so you may not have been getting the communications that you want. Well, that emerges from shadow and connects with Uranus. So a sudden development towards the end of this week could delight you. And perhaps Venus being in the 12th house may be that development will be on a confidential basis. So someone may reach out and ask a question because they're trying to understand your level of commitment, or they may be trying to understand how much you may want in terms of a financial offer around a business opportunity. So both are possible. But as the week draws to a close, you are given quite a joyous opportunity over the following 2 weeks, because there is the full moon, but it's in your sister fire sign of Sagittarius. You can be a very popular sign, Leo, and I feel that you could be spoilt for choice over the next couple of weeks about what time you have and where you should share that time, on what interests and what people. So you could find yourself having to make some decisions in that regard, but also this full moon could point towards a big decision about a romantic relationship, for good or bad, in the following half month.